In this episode of Falmouth in Focus, we'll visit the site of the Coonamessett River Restoration Project and join the ribbon-cutting ceremony and check out a special fundraising event for Tommy's Place at the Falmouth Ice Arena. All this and more on this edition of Falmouth in Focus.
Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus, FCTV's current affairs program. I'm your host, Michael Kasparian. During his weekly Friday video briefing on October 29th, Falmouth Health agent Scott McGann reported that the positivity rate of COVID-19 tests has been on a downward trend during the past few weeks, which is good news. However, with the continued virus transmission throughout the Cape and the Commonwealth, residents are encouraged to get vaccinated and obtain your booster shots when eligible. You can view Scott McGann's weekly video briefings on FCTV Government Channel 15, our Facebook page, and fctv.org. Last week, a ribbon-cutting celebration was held to mark the completion of the Coonamessett River Restoration Project. We spoke to Betsy Gladfelter to learn more about the latest addition to the project, an aerial gateway with spectacular views of the river.
But this project, I say, is like you put in a plant in the ground in Falmouth. The first year it sleeps, the second year it creeps, the third year it leaps. This slept for decades. But because we had biologists from the state and local government and federal biologists who considered this such an important stream, thought was always that at some point could we restore it. It's a cold water river. Most of the river water comes from groundwater springs. Probably only 5% comes over the surface. Not only is a herring run and an eel run, but it's also a brook trout stream. Lots of wetland wildlife, so you have frogs and toads and salamanders and birds and turtles. And when you come in the springtime, you could see snapping turtles laying eggs. The other aspect of the river is the vegetation. We put a few trees and a few woodland shrubs, but everything else you see out here has come from seed that was buried for hundreds of years. So this river was dammed. It was the first river that was dammed in Falmouth in 1700. For 200 years, what behind me was a lake. It was called Factory Lake. And then in the late 1800s, that was drained, and cranberry bogs were built here. And to grow cranberries, you put sand on them. So for 100 years, that area was built up with sand. When you took the sand away, as was done for this restoration project, the seeds that were in that wetland soil sprung back to life. The first grants came in we applied for them in 2009. So every other year we'd get a fairly small grant, 50 to 60,000, and we moved along a little bit, but we made enough progress and we had the plans for restoring the lower bog and removing Lower Bog Dam. We were successful in getting a federal grant, actually 17 grants totaling almost $5 million and almost $1 million in volunteer labor and in-kind labor from the town. So we removed 3 barriers to fish passage. We put in 2 boardwalks that span across the floodplain, and then we had a beautiful bridge built at John Parker Road. Check with Coonamessett River Trust. They can always use volunteers for their project. Check with the 300 committee. They also can always use volunteers. And then check with the conservation department, and especially with Mark Kaspersik, who's our conservation land manager. And I can tell you, Mark and I already have projects ready for in mind.
The town is now looking at restoring the upper part of the Coonamessett River with help from the Massachusetts Department of Ecological Restoration. Thanks to Eric Larry, for that report. It's time now for 3 Things from Town Hall, FCTV's condensed version of the takeaways from recent municipal meetings. Selections are chosen based on community impact.
Fire Chief Timothy Smith, along with Town Manager Julian Suso, gave an update to the Select Board in their last meeting, specifying staffing for the fire rescue personnel and a timeline to the completion of the new Northwest Fire Station.
We presented what we would look at as far as staffing is concerned with the new Hatchville Station, and then looking towards the Northwest Combined Station. And at that time, we looked at staffing consideration of at least 20 on staff at the beginning of a shift.
Representatives from Eversource presented to the board in this meeting regarding their plans on improving reliability in Falmouth and on Martha's Vineyard. Improvements presented in the plan include certain new transformers to be installed and cable replacements.
We've had issues with reliability in some areas of town. We've been doing some work. It's already paid dividends, and we're continuing to do projects in Falmouth that affect the residents of the town. So in Palmer Ave, you may have seen some of this infrastructure already go in, not necessarily all the transformers. At Palmer Ave, in front of the hospital, we installed 2 pads to put 2 transformers, which will give us 2 backups to the whole town to improve reliability.
The Select Board also discussed the charge given to the Working Families Task Force. Assistant Town Manager Peter Johnson-Staub gave a brief overview of the concept of the task force and some of the particular aspects of the work it will be doing.
This task force is going to be looking at is a number of topics, a wide range of topics that are already addressed by a number of existing boards, committees, departments, and regional entities. There's a lot of overlap with affordable housing, there's overlap with planning.
To see the meetings in their entirety, check out Government Channel 15's program schedule at fctv.org. It's now time for our monthly calendar segment. The 2021 Alternative Gift Market is a great way to shop from home and also support a worthy cause. From November 12th through November 21st, you can purchase a gift for a loved one by donating to a local, national, or global organization that you care about. Go to alternativegiftmarketcapecod.org for a list of participating charities. Join the Falmouth Public Library on Monday, November 15th at 2 p.m. via Zoom as Chris Walls from Mass Audubon presents a lecture on backyard birds. Learn to identify the most common feeder birds, including those confusing finches and sparrows. He will also discuss best bird feeding practices and native plants that attract birds. Register for this free event at falmouthpubliclibrary.org. The Falmouth Service Center Turkey Drop-Off Day is scheduled for November 21st from noon to 3 p.m. Drop off your frozen turkeys weighing 10 to 18 pounds to help benefit Falmouth area families during the Thanksgiving season. Go to falmouthservicecenter.org for more information about donating non-perishable items or to learn how to volunteer. Holidays at Highfield returns on November 26th, offering the public an outdoor and indoor holiday-themed experience to remember. Inspired by the theme Season of Joy, event stylist Rita Pacheco returns to lead the holiday transformation of Highfield Hall by masterfully blending old world charm with contemporary elements. The event runs through December 12th, and reservations are required at highfieldhallandgardens.org. And finally, don't forget to join us on November 18th at 7 p.m. for the next virtual installment of our open mic series, Poetic License. Sign up for another night of poetry and prose, stories and songs, with entertainment provided by you and your friends and neighbors. November's suggested theme is An Abundance of Gratitude. Pre-register by Wednesday, November 17th to receive your Zoom login information. Check out fctv.org for more details. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll make a stop at the Waquoit Congregational Church for the Luminaries of Love event. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Ann Levitt. I'm the president of People for Cats. People for Cats is a nonprofit, no-kill cat shelter in Falmouth. We are located at 44 Beagle Lane. Our mission is to find homes for adoptable kitties. Also, we reduce the feral population with our spay-neuter release program. We also educate the public on cat care. Hey, it's kitten season, and we're looking for volunteers who would like to foster kittens. Kittens do not stay at our shelter because a home environment helps them transition into their forever home. You may get a kitten that's 8 weeks old. We spay-neuter all our kittens before they are adopted, and they get spayed or neutered in 12 weeks. So you may socialize a kitten for 4 weeks, plus another week so that we know that they're okay after their surgery. Some kittens are very shy, so you may have a kitten longer than the 5 weeks. If you would like to adopt a kitten, please call our hotline, leave a message, and our kitten coordinator will give you a call back. Please call our hotline at 508-540-5654. Our shelter is still closed to the public, but we have cats that want homes. Please go to our website, peopleforcats.org. If you see a kitty that you'd like to come in and visit, follow the directions. You'll get a call back from one of our volunteers on the cat adoption team, and then you can set up an appointment. That's all I have for now, and thank you for listening to this PSA.
Welcome back. The Luminaries of Love event at the Waquoit Congregational Church is an All Saints' Day walk in remembrance of the loved ones that have been lost. Reverend Nell Fields spoke to FCTV about the event.
I'm the Reverend Nell Fields with the Waquoit Congregational Church. Welcome to Luminaries of Love. This is our All Saints event. It's an All Saints walk when people from the community are invited to light a luminary for the people they've lost, light a luminary in honor and celebration of the people who are still here, saints in their life. This is a tradition that has been going on since the year 600, and many people in the Christian church believe this day is a thin day. It is a thin day when the veil between earth and heaven is so thin that we can see the other side, and people who are in heaven can see us. So we gather this evening to light luminaries of love, to be with each other in community, to remember all the saints in our lives, those we've lost and those who are present with us still.
Reverend Fields reports that because of their online presence, they received requests from across the globe to light luminaries. Thanks to Andrew Richards for that story. Some towns display pumpkins, but Falmouth Village is famous for its striking collection of scarecrows displayed throughout October and November on Main Street downtown. We spoke with Nicole Fox, the marketing director for the Falmouth Village Association, to learn more about this year's event.
So Falmouth Village is a group of member businesses and residents, community members, who we work for the betterment of Main Street and Queens Byway. Falmouth Village has been around, I want to say, for a couple decades now. We recently rebranded as Falmouth Village, so we dropped the term association to really communicate that it is the village that makes Falmouth so special. So this year, our Village of Scarecrows is one of our first kind of pseudo events that we've been able to do, and we're looking really forward with fingers and toes crossed to a holiday stroll as well this year. So our president, Richard Peel from LaRue Kitchen, he had a great idea to invite some nonprofits to participate and hang scarecrows this year. So we have Wings of Falmouth, Tommy's Place, and WCAI, who all did scarecrows this year. And we're hoping next year we'll have even more. And the plan is for Falmouth Village to give a donation to the nonprofit with the highest votes. So we hope everyone comes down to Main Street and Queens Byway, takes a look at the scarecrows, and then you can actually vote for your favorite on our Facebook page. So we have an album with all of the scarecrows, and you just like, comment, or share for your favorite. We have at least 15 scarecrows up, and I'm getting pictures every day. So definitely check back the Facebook page. We're going to keep it updated, but there are a ton of scarecrows, and people went all out this year. There are some really, really impressive ones.
Congratulations to this year's winner and to all the other nonprofits and businesses that participated in the Village of Scarecrows contest. Thanks to Eric Larry for that story. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll visit with former Falmouth Police Chief Anthony Riello as the department celebrates its 100th anniversary. Stay with us.
My name is Unshin Sangak Dan Jocelyn Simsei, and before all of those words bother you, my walking around name is Dan Jocelyn. I am the founder and guiding teacher of the Falmouth Soto Zen Sangha, and we meet on a regular basis when we can at the First Congregational Church on Main Street in Falmouth. Our particular mission as a Soto Zen Buddhist organization is to reduce the suffering in ourselves and others. We follow what we call the middle way, which was pronounced by Sakyamuni Buddha 2,500 years ago. But let me tell you a little bit about our Sangha, which is our congregation. Anyone is welcome to join us. Since 2010, we've had hundreds of people that have come in and learned about Buddhism and Zen, and particularly about our meditation practice called Zazen. We're a full service organization, meaning we can teach you, you can come and go and participate in all of our activities. There's no fee for doing so, it's just by donations if you wish. Let me tell you a few things we do. We do book studies on Zen, we do retreats where we come together in small groups and discuss teachings. We do book reviews of particular books in Zen or Buddhism, or other books for that matter. As a congregation, we meet often for meals and spend time with each other in fellowship. In addition, we're community-oriented in that we work with alcohol and drug abuse, and also do teaching in the senior center of our Zazen method. So what is this all about, this thing called Zen? It's about being in the moment, being fully awake to the moment, existing only in the moment. And in doing so, we drop away those anxieties or those fears that we have, simply resting in that type of experience. I often say, Zen is not what you think. It's not just a nice topic, but it actually means we are much more about experiencing than we are about thinking. So with all of that, feel free to give me a call, and you can find my telephone on our website at falmouthsotozencenter.net. You can drop me an email, and I'll be glad to respond. So with that, I look forward to hearing from you and possibly seeing you soon.
Welcome back. The Falmouth Police Department is celebrating its 100th year anniversary in 2021. In this segment, former Chief Anthony Riello reflects on his tenure as chief, and he discusses the importance of community policing and how FCTV played an important role in his efforts to connect with the community.
The Falmouth Police Department, and you know, there were issues there. There were issues in Pittsfield. Everybody has issues. Well, what I found there and what was so interesting and refreshing for me is that I found a willingness from not only the command staff, but the union folks and the union president to work together to make some of the changes that we knew we had to make. Because as you know, policing changes. You can't be stagnant in policing. You have to react. You have to work with the community. You have to do all of that stuff. And what I found there was so refreshing is that everyone we were all on the same page. We wanted good things to happen for the Falmouth community. And more important, we wanted to involve the Falmouth community. And up to that point, it was my understanding there wasn't a lot of that. And that's not a criticism of anybody. It's just the nature of what policing is all about. And one of the things that, again, that really struck me, and it was interesting, I don't know if I mentioned his name, but Sean Doyle was the union president at the time. Now I believe he's a lieutenant in the police department. He was a leader. He was a good man. Chief Dunn was a sergeant at the time, and we had Captain McManaman, and they were all, everybody just wanted to work together, and that's what we did. And we started by looking at ourselves. We brought in a consultant who had done some work in the town of Falmouth before, and we knew we had to reinvent who we were and who we were to the Falmouth community. So we did. We reworked our mission, our vision for the police department and the community, and our values. What do we stand for? What are we all about? And that's what we did. And with the help of him, and it wasn't me. It was, the important part was the participation that we had at all levels in this process. So when we were done with it, they owned it. It was what they wanted to do. And it was all in sync with what was good for the community. And the reason we knew it was good for the community is because the community told us. And I do want to point out one thing that was extremely helpful throughout my 5 years there. And that was the Behind the Badge show that we had on your station. It was a great way to reach out to folks in the community. We had community people on the program. We had leaders from different neighborhood groups on the program. We had officers. We had visiting officers on the program. And it was just a way to get our message out to the community and let them know that, hey, we're working with you.
Thanks to Jeff Wyman for that story. Boston's professional women's hockey team, the Pride, recently came to Falmouth to play an exhibition match against the Toronto Six. We spoke with team president and Falmouth Olympian champion Colleen Coyne about how the idea came about.
Sure enough, the topic came up of having a game in Falmouth, and it was something incidentally that, Paul Mara had sort of envisioned at one point too, just because it brings us to a whole new community. And it's also a very unique experience and event for a community that's not in a city. So I think that it was, a lot of just wanting to do it, like we sort of came up with the idea and then we just wanted to do it. So we went out and we got the support of local people, local companies, as Falmouth always does. They kind of come through with all the support for events like this. We'll be all set up to take donations at the door. And we're also going to have some other cool things, actually, that to help raise money for them. And one thing that we're going to do is we're going to come down with unique like warm-up jerseys. So our team, the Boston Pride, we're going to be warming up in a jersey that we're then going to raffle off. I hope that this thing is so awesome that we want to do it every year, And I think it'd be a great, a neat way it's a cool experience for our players, a lot who don't get to experience the Cape very often, or who have never, if they're not from the area, and Falmouth, and also, kind of be a neat tradition, I think, if we can pull that off. It was announced that our entire season is going to be broadcast on ESPN Plus. So that's the regular season. So that's another thing to know. If you can't get up to Boston to catch a game or many, you can definitely tune into ESPN Plus. The schedule's on the website, and we're really we're eager to get started. We're forever grateful for the support that we get, and while we have awesome support now, we just have to continue to grow that.
The Pride won 2-1 in this charity event which benefited Tommy's Place, and we wish them luck in this year's season. Thanks to Alan Russell for that coverage. Though a recent nor'easter caused disruption to events in town, the East Falmouth School still found time to celebrate their annual Harvest Parade the day after Halloween. Students from all grades dressed up as their favorite character to celebrate. Thanks to Ryan Weber for that segment. FCTV wants to remind you that television can be as easy as hitting record on your smartphone. We'd like to invite all Falmouth residents and visitors to share their slice of life with us. Email us your photos and videos or upload them to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using the hashtag MyFalmouth or Falmouth in Focus to be featured on the show. Thank you to our most recent contributors. We leave you now with the sights and sounds from the Falmouth High School Marching Band and Color Guard with their field show, How to Train Your Dragon, featuring Thomas Baldessauer on trumpet and Alexa Morton in the Color Guard. Thank you for watching Falmouth in Focus. We'll see you next time.